Yeah, get it on. Got to get on the church. We're going to mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Pauly Shore.
What's up?
In studio. Max Spaz going to be doing some news coming up as well. Pauly's got a podcast, The Jam and the Van Show. That's wherever you find finer podcasts. Pauly talks to bands, current and former. And
before I came on, I asked Chris. I said, Chris, you're a beautiful producer. He's got beautiful skin.
Thank you.
Polynesian, it's always
sure.
from the Polynesian.
Polynesian. That should be the name of your next comedy special. Polynesian.
Holy shit!
Come on, write that shit down.
And I was
from Tahiti, live from Tahiti.
Oh, you have to do it on location, yeah.
Pauly Shore and Polynesian. Just take it.
We'll take it. What a giver. But he told me, he says, make sure you wear your sunglasses. I said, that's rude. You know what I mean? It's not cool to wear sunglasses when you do people's podcasts. You go, for some reason, Carolla loves it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's very like, Jack Nicholson. He says that you're starting to remind me of Jack Nicholson. So, hey, we're hanging out at the Laker game. You might as well wear the sunglasses.
Got any Jack stories? You guys were probably running in the same circles in the same time for a decade.
Yeah, I used to see him years ago at a club called Helena's.
Mm-hmm.
Helena's was like the coolest, like in the 80s. It was like the coolest, it was the coolest club in Hollywood. Madonna, Warren Beatty, Annette Bening, Bob Seger, Jack Nicholson, Sean Penn, and me and my friend Kirk Fox were always at the front trying to get in. And it was like, I remember one time I saw Bob Seger like go off on his wife, dude.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Wow.
Like just running down the street, buzzed. You know what I mean? Buzzed, like just, yelling at her and just getting, I don't want to say aggressive. It wasn't a physical thing. But yeah, I used to see Jack there. You know what I mean?
Did you talk to him? Did you interact?
No, because I was just a kid. I was like 19, but Helena's, if you Google Helena's nightclub in the 1980s, it was the spot. No one could get in.
And Jack could get in.
Yeah, he could get in.
Yeah,
but there was the rope back in the day when there was the rope. Remember the clubs where you just have to sit behind the rope?
The velvet rope. I'm not even sure why it needed to be velvet. It's not like a lot of people were pushing up against it or anything.
Not touching it.
You're not touching it. It's just there. But you grew up basically on the Sunset Strip because the Comedy Store's right in the heart of the Sunset Strip. And then the Sunset Strip was probably heyday from the later 50s, early 60s, right on through to the sort of early-ish 90s or something.
Break on through, bro. Break on through to the other side. Yeah, it was years ago. Before a lot of people know the Viper Room, right, on Sunset where River Phoenix died and Johnny Depp ran. Years before that, it was a place called Filthy McNasty's.
FM, yeah.
Remember?
Well, there was FM station in the Valley.
Yes.
And then there was Filthy McNasty's was in the Valley. So the Valley had the Palomino. The Palominos were like Hank Williams would play and all the big country acts. And it was like not deep Valley, but Valley you wouldn't hang out in anymore, kind of dicey Valley. And then there was FM station before that, which was Filthy McNasty's.
Yeah, so my sister used
that
to
was rock. Yeah. Those were rock acts, I think. Yes. So you had the country act place. Yeah. They filmed movies there. They filmed like Hooper and like I don't know, all those Burt Reynolds sort of Hal Needham fight movies.
That Western vibe.
They'd be fighting at that bar.
Yeah, and then you also had Gazzari's.
Yeah, the Godfather of rock and roll.
Gil Turner's, that whole area, yeah. It's just, you drive down it now, and I'm not saying it's depressing, but it's just, it's like this feeling of just, there's no there's no sassafras. There's no
like boom, it's boom, missing boom. Sassafras. I remember my Uber driver last time he was driving me down Sunset said, "We're short some sassafras here," and I was like, "Yep, we're diminished in the sassafras."
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's everybody's.
I would accept even more sass or frass at this point.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah,
and the coconut teasers was there too.
Yeah, right there. That was Crescent Heights and Sunset. So so that's that was my stomping grounds, and so the Comedy Store to me is it's. I don't know. It's got its it's hard for me to be there. It's not hard for me to be there. It's got so many different I'm the only person that has been there that long, except for Argus Hamilton. Right. But Argus came a little bit after me. But she started in 1972 with my father.
Your mom?
Yeah, my mom Mitzi. She started with my father in 1972. And I'm 55, so I was 4. I got photos of me this big on the stage at the store. So, I was there with Red Fox and Freddie Prinze, and I saw that whole run,
Well, here's a question I get asked the other day. People go, well, no, you do comedy, but I didn't grow up around it. I just grew up in the Valley, and then I played sports, and then I did construction. But, I found my way to comedy because it was in me.
It was in you.
But what about you? What if you'd grown up outside of that environment? Because now we're getting to nature or nurture. Your dad was a famous comedian. Your mom, club owner. But if you grew up, let's just say you grew up to some middle class Valley village.
Or Polynesia.
You were in Polynesia in a small village. Right. Let's just say you grew up, your dad worked at the GM plant in Van Nuys working on Camaros, and you grew up in Chatsworth. Do you think you would have found your way to comedy?
No, I think I would have been a construction worker like you.
But then I became a comedian.
Yeah, then I became a comedian. Yeah. No,
So, wait a minute. You just answered the question by me standing in front of a mirror?
I'm on medication now, dude. I have 6 personalities. I don't know what's going on. No.
Well, find the coherent one.
Okay.
All right. So, do you think, without being exposed to it as early and often, if you just grew up a middle class anywhere in Indiana environment, you would have found your way to comedy?
No, absolutely not.
You don't?
No, because I'm a combo of my mom. I'm a combo of my dad. I'm half and half. Like we're all Frankensteins of both of them. And my dad's a comedian, so it's in his system. And my mom is like hardcore. And so you have to be funny and hardcore, I think, to be a comedian. So I don't think I would have. You know what I mean?
But most comedians' parents weren't in comedy. And they found their way to it.
Okay, so then my answer is yes. Yes, I would definitely find my way to comedy. All right, next question. Here, give me your yellow pad.
You're growing up off the Sunset Strip. But you grow up on the Sunset Strip, essentially. Did you need a fake ID back then?
Yes, I did. I went to Westwood and got it at Poster Matt. Remember Poster Matt in Westwood?
That gay dude?
No, it was next to the Westwood Arcade in
it's
Westwood
a store.
Village.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they used to sell fake IDs.
I thought it was 2 T's.
Sell fake IDs.
Oh, so you went and got a fake ID?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was probably 16. You have to understand something. I had no parental supervision. I talk about my career sometimes on stage, and I talk about what the fuck happened. I was doing all these movies, and then I stopped doing movies. And I think it's always good to blame other people for what happened to you,
that's how you grow.
as opposed
to internalizing.
Yeah,
growth is found externalized.
Externalize, project.
Yeah.
So I look at guys like Sandler, who's been killing it since the early 90s. But if you think about Adam Sandler's career and my career, they're pretty much on the same trajectory. I did Encino Man. He did Happy Gilmore. I did Son-in-Law. He did Billy Madison. I did In the Army Now. It was all this thing. But the difference...
All in about the same time
around
period.
The same time, but we were knocking them out at the same time. It was all happening.
Right.
But the difference between me and Sandler is that he had, I think, a support system. He had brothers that supported him. He had his parents that supported. He had this kind of this beautiful kind of backbone of support. Me, I had fucking Gallagher. You know what I mean? I had fucking Dice. I had my parents weren't around. I was left alone. You know what I mean?
Well, your mom was just at the store every night?
She was at the store. My dad was on the road, so I didn't have that, hey, sit down. We got to talk about where you're at, because I was in my 20s, and I was just all over the place. I was like doing this, and I didn't have that.
That's Pauly's dog.
Yeah,
by the
that's
way.
my dog. I didn't have that, but now I have my dog Buster, so he helps me.
With your career.
He's your
with my
backbone.
career.
Well,
But,
I mean, what
but
about representation, agents, managers, that kind of stuff?
That's part of it. I think that's part of it, but I think it's all about when you go home and what was in your home. You know what I mean? And again, my mom had the Comedy Store, and she was busy with that, and that's where her heart was, and that's where she wanted to be. She was like, she already had kids. I mean, you have to understand something. There's 4 kids.
Right.
There's Scott, there's Peter, there's Sandy, and me. So my mom had kids in the 50s and 60s with my brother Scott. My brother Scott's going to be 70.
Oh, so
yeah.
are you the youngest?
Yeah, I'm the youngest.
Oh, okay.
So my brother Scott and my sister Sandy were had, and then 15 years later, my mom and dad had my brother, myself, and my brother Peter. So like there was this long gap. So once my mom got the Comedy Store, then she had me and my brother Peter around that time. But her heart. My mom was a woman that just loved to develop comedians. It started with my father, because my father was that's where they met. He was performing, and she would give him pointers, and they met at in Wisconsin back in the 50s, and she would just naturally give him pointers, and it was kind of like a natural instinct. So when she got the store, it was like she got who she was. It was like her thing. You know what I mean?
What do you think? I'll open this up. Chris, your parents got divorced, right?
Yeah.
My parents got divorced. Your parents got divorced. What do you think the issue was? Was there a big issue, like
Lots of
cheating
issues.
or something like that?
There was. I mean, I could be here for hours. It was just, it was, his is it monogamy? What's it called?
Well, lack of it.
Lack of monogamy. It was alcoholism. It was him being extremely unhappy because he never wanted to be married to my mom, and my mom didn't want to be married to him because of she just wasn't really in love with him. It was kind of like he accidentally got her pregnant. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that, and then he took off, and then he got a call from her saying that she's pregnant. So it wasn't like they got married, they had kids, and there was this thing.
It was back
because he
back
wanted
in the day. You had to.
But
do
my
that.
dad wanted to do what I did, meaning he just wanted to be a young spirit. He was on the way of making it. You have to understand something. My dad opened for Elvis. My dad, he was killing it, dude, in the 60s and 70s. He was on Ed Sullivan's show. You know what I mean?
Do you go back and look at your dad, as an adult now, listen to his act or watch old film or any of that stuff,
He's
and
brilliant.
critique it
Brilliant.
as a professional now?
Yeah. I did back then. He opened for me for 25 years, dude, before he died.
Oh,
which was
really?
Awesome. Yeah. And Jeff Ross always used to say that to me. Jeff Ross would always say, dude, you know how lucky you are to have your father open for you? You know what I mean? And it was like I don't want to say it was the first time we really bonded because he was a good father, even though they divorced. But it was such a heartfelt, amazing experience to be able to hang out with my dad, have him go on the road with me. And it was just it kind of all made sense because people would see me and be like, yo, this guy's fucking nuts. We know him. This is who we paid to see. But then they see this older guy that's more nuts and more fucked up than me. And they're like, oh shit, this is where he got it from. So you know what I mean? Because my dad was a nut. He was a crazy comedian. He had more energy than me. After my shows, I'd always be like this. He'd be like, come on, Paul, we got to do some more shows. Let's go.
Really?
Yeah, dude. And he was back in the Friars day. I mean, my dad's partner back in the day was Shecky Green.
Wow.
So they were a team.
Yeah.
They were a team, and we're talking Sid Caesar, we're talking Milton Berle, we're talking all those guys, Engelbert Humperdinck, all these fucking.
You're really sort of a comedy historian at some point. You're like the missing link or something from the modern to the old days because of how you grew up.
Yeah, I saw him, man. I saw him in the 70s. I would go out. He'd play Harrah's. He'd open for Connie Stevens. He would Bob Hope, Sammy Davis Jr. His my dad's widow, Suzanne, who's awesome. She gave me some stuff. I got some posters of like my dad, Sammy Davis Jr., Sammy Shore. And then if you look online, you see like Elvis Presley, Sammy Shore. And very, I love my father.
When did he pass?
2019.
Oh,
of
so
old
recent.
age, though, dude. He was 92.
Did he encourage you to go into comedy?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was into it.
That's good.
Yeah, he was into it.
Did your mom encourage you?
No, but I think it was a psychological thing. I think she did program me be a comedian. That's a whole other thing. I talk about that a lot in my one-man show that I've been doing. But she, acted like, sometimes you act like not to do something, but psychologically you're actually, you know what I mean? It's almost like a girl, if you like her and she's acting like she doesn't like you, it makes you like her more.
Yeah.
So I think she kind of was manipulating me a little bit like that. Like she knew I was going to be a comedian because I was just naturally funny as a kid. Like when we were, my mom would always have after parties. Like my mom's life began at 40. Mm-hmm. in what she told me.
Right.
She always said, my life began at 40. Got rid of got the store. That's when she got the store at 40. And then my father was gone and she got her own thing. So she would party at the house. And in the house, she would bring over, Gallagher or Tim Thomerson or Richard Belzer, Richard Pryor, Robin Williams. You got, Argus Hamilton. You got all these, Gary Mule Deer.
Right.
Just all these Biff Maynard. Do you remember that fucking guy?
No, I don't remember that name.
Biff Maynard, dude. This guy was fucking funny. That's the thing. It's like you watch these comedians at the store now when I'm there, and it's just like, ugh. And I'm like, and I'm not saying they're bad. None of them are bad. They're all doing fine. But I look, when I'm in the OR, dude, and I'm sitting in the back in that
original room.
In the original room, and I'm sitting in the back, and I'm watching blah, blah, blah on stage. I don't need to say. I feel and I see Richard Pryor. When I see blah, blah, blah on stage, I feel and I see Robin Williams. Because I actually saw Robin Williams on that stage. And it was like, holy shit.
Well,
there was this explosion, dude, when these guys would go on stage. It was like, and when they would introduce Richard Pryor, it was like fucking Jesus Christ. Because someone would be on stage, and they would say, who's on next? And they'd go, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, wait. And then I'd go on stage and I'd give them a note. And it would say, on the note, it would say Richard Pryor. And they're like, whoa, we got a special guest.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, Richard Pryor. And people would stand up and go, what? Huh? What? It was like that type of shit. You know what I mean? And when he walked on stage.
You could smoke while you watched Richard Pryor.
Yeah, and he would walk on the stage, dude, and it was like Jesus Christ showed up. And so when I watch the comedians now, that's what's in my fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're comparing them. Well,
and they're not bad. I'm not saying the comics now are bad.
No,
it just wasn't what it was.
Is it just the comics or is it the audience too that you can't get that energy back?
No, I think it's the comics. I talk about music. You talk about the Beatles, Led Zeppelin, The Who, fucking Rolling Stones. It's the same thing, And then you watch the bands like now. They're good, but it's not fucking. There's no fucking. The Who.
Yeah. Well, look. Here's the way I would do.
Look at the crusty producer in there, bro. He knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's getting a hard on.
He prefers salty. But all right. So look. We got to be able to lay this out.
Sorry, dude. I got on a tangent.
No, that's all right.
Bad.
That's all right.
I am not a lot of people bring that out of me. So I know you care about the story.
I'm your muse,
and you care about.
Well, let's break it down this way. Then
like break it down like this. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get out the cardboard.
Pop and lock.
All right. I was talking to what the hell is that? I was talking to Dave Coulier yesterday, and he was telling me that I know I'm dropping names. He said that he grew up in Michigan and outside of Detroit or something. His favorite, he loved American Muscle, and he loved a 1966 split rear window Corvette. And I said, yes, that's a beautiful car from 1966. That's American Muscle. That came out of Detroit. 8 years after 1966. You had the Pacer, the Gremlin. You had the Ford Granada. I mean, you had some of the biggest piles of shit to ever have four wheels
Wow.
attached to them.
Interesting.
Not a decade later. Not you go from Halcyon, American Muscle, Mopar, fire-breathing V8, 60,
interesting.
65, 66, 67, 68, even like 69 with like GTOs and all that kind of stuff. And then by the time you get to 73,
Wow.
everything is a colossal piece of shit.
It's interesting.
Same
That's
company,
yeah.
same place. So I'm like, how do you account for that? Now, some of it is like, oh, well, they started having smog requirements and things. There's things, EPA, things like that. But basically, the design of that vet was a work of art. And a decade later, less than a decade later, we had the Pacer, or we had the Gremlin, or we had the Ford Granada, or the multitude of piles of shit that rolled out from Detroit.
uninspired-
Right. So you go, all right. By the way, the Corvette in the mid-'60s was a work of art. And then the Corvette in the mid-'70s was a piece of shit. Okay. And then remained a piece of shit for another decade, like into the mid-'80s and stuff like that. All right.
Yeah, it was like,
So if you now Corvette kicks ass, mid-engine, flat plane, crank, whatever, great performance. Competes with Ferraris and Lamborghinis. Okay, so if you just sort of took a look at the chart, and the chart was only Corvettes. That's the only chart. Forget about architecture. Forget about music. Forget about comedy. Forget about the heavyweight boxing division. Just take a look at Corvettes. You'd have great. And then you'd have 6 years later, pile of shit, like down, bucket of bolts. And then you'd have this weird climb back up, and then you'd flatten out for a while, like in the early 90s or something. Then you have this kind. Now you have a Corvette that's a world beater. I would say it's the same with comedy, the same with architecture. I always say the same
Music,
with the heavyweight boxing division,
Yeah.
Ali, Holmes, Frazier, and then a bunch of guys you never heard of after that. And then Tyson comes in. There's just an ebb and a flow.
yeah.
And stand up, you were probably there during its pinnacle in that time with the Carlins and the Pryors and the Robbins and all coming through the store
It was wild,
all at the same time. That's Corvette at the height of its powers.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same thing with buildings. You look at
Architecture.
old buildings. The old buildings back in the day were built amazing, and now they're just slapped together. So I don't know. It just seems like there was a grit back then that's not there anymore. We do have Dave Chappelle now, so that is one comic and Bill Burr. And we got those two guys that I think are at a level. I mean, I do think Dave Chappelle is at the Richard Pryor, Robin Williams level, if not even more. I mean, I saw Dave Chappelle sell out, 8 shows at the Hollywood Bowl. I mean, Richard Pryor never did that. And so Dave Chappelle is I'm very happy for this generation that they got to have Dave Chappelle, because he's, to me, the last of that. To me, there's no one better than him.
I think I like Bill Burr more, but that could just be my personal taste.
Bill Burr's, that's what I said. Those are the two guys.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back with Pauly, more reminiscing and what's going on now, right after this. Hey, let me tell you about Harry's. That's right. Level up your shave with Harry's sleekest razor yet, the craft handle. Innovative design with the same great German-engineered blades that glide across your skin. And it's a killer new look. Look, you got to take care of your skin. Start off with Harry's, especially fellas. Dotted rubber grip pattern. Feels very good in your hand. Smooth metallic handle. Feels weighty and well-balanced. It's precision. You can feel the precision in it. Just feels right in your hand as opposed to those lightweight plastic disposable ones. Delivered straight to your door, and it's just $10 at harrys.com/Adam. You get the starter set. It includes craft handle, 5-blade German-engineered razor cartridge, shaving gel, and you get the travel cover as well. Plus, blade refills as low as $2. It's Harry's, right, Dawson?
Elevate your shave with the latest and greatest in Harry's razor handle lineup today. Get your $17 craft handle starter set for just $10 at harrys.com/Adam. That's harrys.com/Adam.
Let me tell you about Angie Homeowners. You know, it's a lot of work to own a home. Whether it's everyday maintenance, repairs, or dream projects, it can be hard. even know where to start? All you need is Angie. Your home for everything home. Find a skilled local pro who will deliver quality and experience. Over 20 years of home service experience. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie handles the rest. Look, you're busy. You don't have time to do all this stuff. Let Angie handle it. Take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit online. Visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com. ANGI.com. That's Angie. Let them do all the heavy lifting. Pauly Shore's got his podcast, The Jam in the Van, and Pauly talks to popular bands, new and old, about a variety of topics. Who are you talking to?
It's Jam in the Van is a very interesting platform. And you have to do it because every single comedian that I tell, or every band that I tell I'm working with Jam in the Van, their dick gets hard. They're like, oh my God, right? I mean, you want to speak on their behalf? Or?
I mean, we've done stuff with them, especially during the pandemic. They were like one of the hottest live music performance channels on YouTube. But then during the pandemic, they had an outdoor venue, so they started getting comedians to come in. And then now they're really focused on comedy and music, and
but just the guys that run it, Jake and Dave, are just like us. They're not corporate-y. They're just like fucking. They're artists. You know what I mean? And their editors are good. Their camera guys are good. The feel is good, and that's why I like doing it. I'm actually doing more of a show there. It's actually called. We were doing a podcast for a while, but the problem is I was interviewing so many musicians, and I don't know. I'm sure you've interviewed musicians. They don't speak. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's hard to fucking. I mean, the Dave Grohls and stuff like that, the big ones, yeah. But these younger bands, they don't speak a lot, so. So I wanted to switch it up. So now it's called the podcast, or it's called Jam in the Van Show with Pauly Shore. So I have a comedian, I have an influencer, and a band, and it's more of like a Jimmy Kimmel,
like a variety show,
a variety show. So I'm really excited about the new format. My point is they're cool guys. I like working with them, and I think at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's not about the money. You want to get paid, but it's just like, I enjoy driving there. I enjoy fucking with them.
Well, speaking of getting paid, when I was watching your documentary, which the name escapes me, but maybe
Stands Alone.
Pauly Shore Stands Alone. Yeah. Very, very compelling doc. We can find it where?
It's on Amazon and then my YouTube. A lot of my stuff's on my YouTube.
It's a really good doc. It's really interesting. It's Pauly on the road. And walking through a club, maybe in Alaska, but I can't remember where.
Wisconsin.
You had the clicker.
Yeah.
The chair count clicker to see how many people were going to be inside this club. And I know we've talked about it before. Now, I don't know if that's a common practice. I've never done it, but I don't know if that's what comedians do, because you get paid 80% of the door, 75% of the door, whatever it is of the door. But we need to establish what the door is. Is it 300 people or is it 255?
Right.
Because if it's 255, you're getting paid less than 80% of 300 people. And have you found that club owners fuck around? Because you're walking around there with that clicker like a bouncer would use in front of a nightclub when you're on the other side of the velvet rope there. And you're clicking the chairs. And if it's full, then you know what your count is, right?
The way you do is you click the chairs in the afternoon. You go out there and you go, okay, that's 352 chairs. So if it's sold out, that's 352 people you get paid on. You know, sometimes you'll click a certain amount and it'll be completely different. Now, if it's 50 chairs that are completely different, then you got to meet in the middle.
Right.
You just say, hey, look, you counted this, I counted this, let's meet. And they're usually cool. But if it's off by 5 to 10, you just kind of leave it alone. Like, who cares?
Like there's a couple comps or something like that.
Yeah.
How many times have you had to have that conversation?
Well, I've been doing this for over 30 years, so it's been probably about probably a dozen times back in the day. I mean, but it's also, Adam, you have to understand something. It also is, it kind of falls into the space of clubs that aren't, corporate-y clubs. You know, if you're playing like a small town and they've never done comedy, which I've done a lot. I'm kind of like the Mikey of comedians. Like, no one wants to go there. I'm like, who the fuck have you had here? Oh, we had Bad Company.
Are you referencing the Life cereal commercial from 1974?
I am.
Okay. Not everyone gets the Mikey.
It was a great commercial.
Everyone got the Mikey reference? Dawson.
Salty guys got it.
Salty Dawson. Got it. Chris, you don't know Mikey.
I know Mikey.
Right, but in that reference.
I did. I don't know why I pulled that, but I was able to pull that.
All right, well, then I apologize. I just thought it was may have been too deep a cut for some of the listeners. But anyway, he
Usually
likes
most
it.
things are.
You got crusty listeners, bro.
Yeah, you're right.
They'll know. I'm not going to do it. You're going to do it. I know. Let's get Mikey to do it. He'll eat anything.
We have the commercial now. I'm said, which is, by the way, this is back when one stupid commercial could capture the zeitgeist of the country.
Yeah, like, who's the beef or where's the beef? Like
Right.
that type of shit.
Right.
Are we going to play the Mikey commercial?
It's
All right.
Life cereal.
What's this stuff?
Oh, wow.
Some cereal. It's supposed to be good
74.
for
I
you.
got it right
You
on.
try it? I'm not gonna try it. You try it. I'm not gonna try it. Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it.
Oh,
He
my
eats everything.
God.
Looks like he has Down syndrome.
He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
He
When you
likes
bring
it.
life home, don't tell the kids.
That's
it's one
like
of
me
those
playing a
Christmas.
shitty comedy club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Adam.
Because you were Mikey in this equation?
Yeah, pretty much.
You'll try it.
Yeah.
You'll do it.
Those are my people, dude. Started with MTV. I've touched America's soul. There's a connection that I have. I'm kind of like the Jimmy Buffett of comedy. You know what I mean? I have my 6-7 hits. I'm good.
Got your weasel heads out there.
I got my 6 or 7 hits. Yeah. No, I'm good. Yeah. So
So you count it. I've found when most people agree to like compromise or something, it usually means they're lying.
yes.
Like I've had this thing, like you've all had this happen, I think. I let somebody film a movie in my house once, and they moved. I had a brand new big rug carpet thing, and they moved it, and it's for whatever shot they were doing. And then when they put it back, they didn't put it back. They just left it. Whenever you try to help people by doing them a favor, they always fuck you over every time. But I was letting them make a movie, and they fucked up my house, even though I told them they could do it for free. Anyway, I went to go put the carpet back. There's a huge 3-foot-long tear in the middle of it, just a big rip. Now, I didn't even live in the house. I just let them do it, and the carpet was perfect when I left. So I said to him, hey, look, I think you kind of fucked up my carpet. There's a big fat tear in the middle of it. And they went, well, we didn't do that. And I said, well, I wasn't even, I don't live at the house. It was fine when I left, and you guys moved it. And then when I moved it back, there's a big tear in the middle of it. And they were like, it wasn't us. And I was like, well, it kind of had to be you because no one else was in the house and no one else touched it. And they went, it wasn't us, but we'll split the difference with you. And I'm always
That's
like,
hilarious.
well, if somebody said to me, you dented my car, and I said, I wasn't even home, I didn't touch your car.
Right.
And then I wouldn't go like, all right, I'll pay for half the paint. I would
Why
be like,
offer that?
the answer is no, I didn't touch your car. But when they go to half, it's an admittance that they did it because you would never go to half for something you weren't a party to, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the club owner
So
kind of knew what they were doing.
Yeah. So I'm kind of a guy that that lets people take advantage of me.
Really?
I mean, kinda. I have a soft spot. I'm like my mom.
Do you feel that? But
you
can
know
I
what I
say
mean? Like,
this?
I'm a real-
Everyone feels like everyone takes advantage of them.
Everyone?
I think so.
Except for Donald Trump, no?
Yeah, most people. Oh, listen, if you gave Trump one Michelob Ultra and sat him down, he would tell you 2 hours of stories of people he did shit for, people he
Right.
helped out.
Yeah.
I put his kid through college and he stabs me in the back. He writes a book calling me a
Right.
douchebag. I mean, it would probably be endless.
Yeah.
Everybody feels that way.
Yeah, the way
but
I
the
look-
math doesn't
yeah.
work out.
The way I look at it, if you split the difference, you go, you know what? I don't want to say I'm well-to-do, but I'm fine. So they make a couple shekels off of me. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Like, whatever.
But
You're in this small town. You're in a small town. You're coming through. It's a big deal for them. Let them take advantage of me a little. It's fine. I don't care.
Do you do
The Jews call it a mitzvah.
a mitzvah?
That's
That's right.
Hey.
With the shekels.
Yeah, with the
Do
shekels.
you feel like you've been taken advantage of?
Yeah, because I'm
Because most people would think you had a pretty blessed life.
no, I'm really nice to people. I really, you know how I get my assistants? I get them off the internet. I don't like say, oh, hey, can you find me an assistant? I go to a website through a friend, and people send in videos, and I pretty much give people opportunity off the streets. Everyone that works for me right now and people that have worked for me in the past, I've all got them off the internet. So like that's me just giving everybody an opportunity. You know what I mean? Because people are listening to us right now that would love to be here, excuse me, that would love to be doing what we do, and they don't get the opportunity. They don't know how. It's like when I did Rogan about a month or so ago, people would hear me on it and they'd be like, how'd you get on Rogan? You know what I mean? So we're blessed just to be sitting right here right now. And so I
But
love
how's
giving
that
people,
you being taken advantage of?
I don't know. I love giving people opportunities that would never get an opportunity, because it's like there's the business and then there's all these other people out here. And I like these people to get opportunities to come up here.
What's the state of the store?
What state is the store? It's doing great. It's
doing great.
Making a lot of money, yeah.
And
Do you get offers like for that land? Because everyone around it is just building straight up. So I mean, the house. of
I'm
Blues is gone.
I'm sure, but it's a family, it's a family, establishment. I don't think, my brothers are going to want to, sell it.
I thought your brothers did want to sell it at some point.
I don't know. That's
You don't want to get into it?
yeah. I don't want to get into that. That's the bottom line is the Comedy Store, I believe, will be here longer than all of us. I think it'll be a Hollywood landmark, and I think that what needs to happen to the building is to just to basically rip out the stucco, rip out the pipes, rip out the electric, rip out all the footing, leave the wood, bring back the wood, new roof, and just put it back exactly how it was. So you have that feel, that spirit of the store. Because at the end of the day, the building's 100 years old, and it must have mold. It must have all these different,
Is it 100 years old now?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so, about 100 years old.
And it's never really been gutted, right?
No.
It is, it is a little funky inside.
Yeah. So to me, that's what I would do.
But you can't rip out the stucco. That's where all the names are.
Yeah, you just put it back, though. You put, you mean the names? Oh, no. Well, no, you write it back. You get another
write it back.
artist to
Rewrite
write them
them,
back. Yeah, you just take photos of it. Mm-hmm. That's what I would do.
I don't think, as a guy who used to be a contractor, I've checked the stucco on that building more than once. I think that's fine. I think the interior needs to be gutted. You can leave
But what
the
about
exterior alone.
inside the walls, though?
Well, once you open the walls, you can get to them from the inside.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that wasn't a tough sell.
Yeah.
They did to the Brady Bunch house, right?
Yeah.
They remodeled that to make it look exactly.
So, what was for you? What were the craziest times? Was it like 1987, Sam Kinison? Like, were there drugs? I know there were drugs. Were you ever into drugs?
A lot. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. The answer to your first question, what were the craziest times? I think when I came out of my mom's vagina, dude. The second
That's when
I
it
showed
started?
up.
Wild.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's where it showed up. It was just, boom, on the stairs of the Comedy Store. Boom, there's Lenny Schultz. Boom, there's all this different kind of, mayhem that was going on. So it was all the way from then till, the internet came, I think. So, I don't know.
Did you
four
ever
decades.
so drugs weren't your thing?
Not really. Not really.
So you never really had a problem with like booze or alcohol or anything. I mean, you escaped that. Most people got caught up in it
Yeah.
in that time period.
Yeah.
I would say. But maybe porn stars? I don't know. What do you think your vice was?
I liked girls. I did like girls. But it was, I don't know, it was more of the fact that they liked me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They would, Pauly Shore, MTV. Oh, you know what I mean? I don't want to say I was a good-looking younger guy or a sex symbol or any of that shit. but that was the consensus because I was on MTV, during the 90s, spring break and all that stuff. So, and my movies are very appealing to females, son-in-law. So women would, they would like me. You know what I mean? They would generally like
Well,
me.
look, being on MTV in the 90s,
Yeah.
especially the earlier 90s, probably good for a single young man.
Yes.
We could ask Carson Daly next time I speak to him. But
the idea of like girls liking you, just coming to you now, you don't even have to try. That must be.
It was, it's kind of like this Matt Rife kid.
Oh yeah.
Matt Rife, he's got, it's like, it seems like.
I see more pictures of him shirtless on my social media.
It seems
these
like,
days.
I'm not saying I was like Matt Rife, but I mean, for the younger audience that's listening, I would have to say it was similar to that.
I don't know who that is.
He's huge right now.
Yeah.
Like huge, like selling out. Like
He dated Kate Beckinsale for a while.
All I ever do is feel bad because I always go to people, I've never heard that name, and then everyone goes, he's huge. And I go, now I feel worse.
Yeah.
But I still
They're
don't
trying to
know.
make you feel bad.
I don't know. Oh, I never go, he's huge. Oh, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I just go, I still don't know who he is. So he's huge. It's good, but it's not really a description.
Yeah, he's a really popular comic. I think just released a special. Really fit, good looking.
Oh, it's a stand-up
kid.
comic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then
And
maybe.
he's like known to just have just a ton of women just come to his shows and like they sell out with just women.
The greatest moment of my MTV womanizing life was I was in Puerto Vallarta. I think we were there for a bachelor party, and I was there. I think we just started the Man Show, but I was on MTV doing Loveline. Every hot chick, every hot 19 to 23-year-old chick in the world just watch MTV back then. That was the best. You would much rather, if you were trying to score chicks, you'd much rather be on MTV than on a hit sitcom on NBC in primetime. There'd be more available college chicks to you, because that's all. Every strip club you would go into, every bar would just have MTV up on the screen because they didn't need the sound. They just, put it on and play in the background. But I was in, I don't know, Senior Frogs or something in Puerto Vallarta, and we went there to party because it was a bachelor party, and then all these chicks started coming up because word got out that the MTV guy was there, and they were dancing on the table and doing shots, and we're having a good time. And I was there with Jimmy, and at some point, and Jimmy was doing Win Ben Stein's Money at the time, but that was not the MTV crowd. So all the chicks are circling around, dancing, partying, and then at some point, my friend Daniel goes, "What about this guy over here from Win Ben Stein's Money?" And one of the chicks goes, "Oh, my dad loves that show." And I was like, yeah. That's the greatest moment of my life. Because it's only better when you can have that moment.
I bet.
Her dad loved the show.
Yeah, it was definitely a nerve, and it was definitely a time, and it was definitely, I mean, Joel Gallen, Doug Herzog, all those guys say the same thing about me. No one was doing what I was doing at the time. I had that run, movies, HBO, albums, MTV, touring. It was all these plates. I had CBS Records signed me to an album, so it was all this stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of people around.
But you needed an Adam Sandler like infrastructure to keep it all together.
Yeah, I had comedians. That was it. So I had to. All the decisions I made were my own decisions, and I was, I don't know. I was. I didn't have. It's like even you watch Shaquille O'Neal's documentary, on HBO. He had his stepfather Phil, who was this militant guy because Shaq was out of. He was rapping and doing all this fucked up shit, but he had this militant stepfather that just kind of pounded him all the time. I never had that. It was a free for all. I was in the Comedy Store's walk-in refrigerator with whipped cream cans left alone. My mom would be like,
doing whip hits?
Doing whip hits. So it was like I had, so a lot of decisions I made in my life, it's been me. It hasn't been like a family meeting.
I don't get. Your mom didn't try to get involved. Like your mom, all she did was sort of tell comedians what to do. She didn't feel that necessity to do that with you?
It was different because I was her son. And there was a lot of this.
But did she try?
Not so much stand-up. She did tell me I was too dirty. That happened a lot. Because I was hanging out with Kennison. And I was, I don't want to say I was copying him, but I felt like that kind of like that party thing. And then my act got a little dirty. There was a time where Sam Kennison was playing the Dunes Hotel in Las Vegas when he was being sued by United Artists for walking off the set of A Took, where he was supposed to play an Eskimo. And he was being sued for $10 million.
Did that movie ever get made?
Never got made.
He was supposed to play an Eskimo?
He was supposed to play an Eskimo. Yeah, if you go online, you can see it. It's all there, yeah.
Wow.
And he was too coked out and too fucked up and too, high with all his friends that he never could get it together. So United Artists sued him, and my mom gave him, at the time, like several weeks at the Dunes Hotel in Las Vegas. And this is when Sam's was a hot comic. So when I was opening for him, I got a little dirty, and she would definitely kind of. But it was difficult, Adam. It was very difficult for me to take advice from my mom because she was two people. She was Mitzi Shore, the legendary person that developed. But then I would be like, no, you're my fucking mom. Like, what the fuck do you know? And so it was just like this. It was difficult. You know what I mean? She wasn't a normal mom, that was, and that raised me in this, you know what I mean?
You remember the story? I haven't thought about it in a long time, but how Sam died driving to Vegas, right? In a car accident. Like, it's funny. The drugs didn't get him. The car accident did.
Yeah.
And, but the guy who hit him and killed him in the car was not apologetic, which is, there's a few stories that, and I don't know, you guys can look it up. There are a few stories that I'm always amazed by. There was a story years ago, 15 years ago, 13 years ago, at one of those another Vegas thing, one of those county line casinos. Some guy went in and just like raped like a 5-year-old girl and like killed her, right? And there's a few parts of the story. Like one is it was 3 a.m. What's your 5-year-old doing wandering around while you're playing slots? A little culpability with the dad.
Yeah.
But they went in and it was 2 dudes, like 2 like 18-year-old dudes, like hanging out. And like the one was like, I'm going to go in there and rape that 5-year-old and kill her. And the other one's like, all right, I'll stand by the door. And he hung out, and they got the guy, and they convicted him of like rape and murder and whatever. But when they interviewed the friend was defiant. The friend was like, hey, he's going to do what he's going to do. What do you want me to do? And everyone turned on the friend worse than they turned on the guy who was the rapist because they were like, what the fuck? And then later on, that same guy tried to go to Stanford. And there was a whole big, we don't want him in Stanford, but there was sort of like, well, you can't not let him into your school because he had a bad bedside manner about his friend who was involved with a crime that he wasn't involved with. He wasn't sympathetic enough.
Right.
But that's not reason for not being able to get into a university. So it's a crazy story, but I have this vague recollection of the guy who killed Sam in the other car being sort of, yeah, all right. What are you going to do?
Weird.
Like, it's weird when it only happens on rare occasion. But I remember, you remember where you were, like when you got the phone call?
Yeah, I was in Fresno.
You're in Fresno.
Yeah, I was doing shows. It was, I mean, I had a lot of fucked up things happen to me when my career was, when I was doing my movies and all that shit. I had Sam die on me, who was my mentor. I had my ex-porno star girlfriend, Savannah, shoot herself in the head. That was a big deal.
With a long rifle.
I don't know if it was a long rifle, but
I remember reading it was like crazy, like an M16 or something weird.
No, she was 23.
No, I'm talking about the gun model.
Oh, I don't know. But my point.
I'm not saying you're banging an underage chick.
No, my point is that there was a lot of Hollywood was wild back then. It was a wild ass time. We talk about Jack Nicholson back then and Sean Penn and fucking Nicolas Cage. And that whole run, Charlie Sheen, who I talked to, you got to get him on the show, Charlie Sheen.
We'd love to.
Fucking great on this show. I don't think he does podcasts though. I talked to him. I was talking to him about Rogan. I'm like, yo, you should do Rogan. He's like, I don't do podcasts. I'm like, dude, you should do podcasts. This is the perfect time because he's a talented dude and he wants to act again.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
and he's clean and sober, right?
Very much so. He lives in Malibu, and Nicolas Cage is the one that gave me his. I've known Charlie for many years, but I didn't talk to him. And Nicolas Cage is the one that gave me his number, and I reached out to him, and he's living in Malibu. He's just chilling, but he would be fucking fantastic.
So there's an urban legend claiming that there's a curse of being killed by lead actors going for lead roles in Eskimo movies that never got made. Evidently,
in that particular movie,
Belushi was offered that movie. Kinison, John Candy, and Chris Farley. Sorry, all offered that role as the.
Well, it's an urban
The
legend.
Incomparable Atuk was the name of the movie. Oh, actually, that's the name of the story that they were going to adapt.
Which is comedy about an Eskimo.
Yeah, you know what happened. I don't want to spend hours on this story, but you know how it went down. How he bailed. Basically, what happened was Sam was on tour with his boys, Carl LeBeau, Mitchell Walters, Alan Stevens, the Outlaws of Comedy, and he was supposed to film this film. So they're like, "Yo, you got to show up." So he shows up to the set in the tour bus because he's been touring and doing drugs and getting fucked up, and him and his writer friends. I think Dan was there. I forgot Dan's last. Dan, they were all there, and they read the script right there, and they said, "This is a piece of shit. Like, let's get out of here." And they just bailed. And there's like trailer parks, or there's like trailers and honey wagons and
they're
catering.
all set to go.
They're ready to go.
Wow.
And so he never even really read the script, but that's how fucked up he was. And it's sad because Sam loved movies. Like, he would always talk about how much he loved movies. So this was an opportunity for him, but he should have. Obviously, you don't agree to do a script until you read it 100 times and you meet with the directors and you meet with everyone and you develop the script and you change the script and you feel comfortable so when you show up you can knock it out. And he just never did that.
Right.
We got to take a break. We got a little news to do, but also the story. I'm still fixated on the kid in the bathroom at the casino, but the guy who killed Sam in his car. Repentant.
You know
as
who you
I
have
recall.
who you have to have on this show is is Sam Kinnison's daughter. Do you
really?
know about that?
No.
So Sam's best friend, Carl LeBeau, his best friend is opening it, kind of like Tony Hinchcliffe for Rogan. His best friend toured with him, came out from Oklahoma to L.A. Homie. His wife Chrissy, they all had sex. Sam died, and then the kid was born, and it's Sam's kid. And Carl got stuck with with paying the child support, even though it was Sam's kid. And then so Sam has a daughter now that's out there in the world. I've never even fucking met her. Huh. And I would love to meet her because Sam was so close to me, and I like to give her a hug and say, "Hey, I loved Sam," but she would be an interesting person to have.
How old is she?
I think she's in her early 20s. No,
Or older.
Yeah, maybe a little older.
She's got to be older because he's
been dead since 92.
Yeah.
92, yeah.
So I'm going to go older than 20s.
Okay, maybe late 20s.
Yeah.
But that'd be wild to have Sam.
I'm going to go.
Because this is
I'm going to even go into the 30s.
Unless he posthumously disseminated into.
Yes.
That's
All
a
right.
fascinating story.
We'll find that story. We'll come back. We'll do more Pauly, do some news. We'll figure out that memory that I'm trying to recover about the guy who killed him, and we'll do that right after this. First, there's the Jordan Harbinger Show. The Jordan Harbinger Show, a different kind of sponsor for this episode, the Jordan Harbinger Show. Well, If you're a fan of fascinating podcasts and interesting people, you should definitely check this one out. There's an episode for everyone, no matter what you're into. Jordan talks with Scott Adams about persuasion in a world where facts don't matter anymore. Man, is he right. Or you go inside the dark world of wildlife trafficking. You'll always find something useful to apply to your own life, like routine changes to boost productivity or slight mindset tweaks to change how you see the world. Jordan's a good guy. We've had him on many times. I know the man well, and he's worth a listen. We enjoy the show, and we know you will too. So you can search The Jordan Harbinger Show. That is Harb as in boy, IN as in Nancy, GER, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts are in the business of keeping your car on the road. They offer friendly, helpful service and the parts knowledge you need for your maintenance and repairs. The team at O'Reilly Auto Parts can test your battery for free in or out of the car. If it needs to be replaced, they'll help you find the right battery for your vehicle. If your check engine light is on, O'Reilly Auto Parts will scan it and retrieve your trouble codes for free. If needed, they'll even refer you to a repair shop. When you're a do-it-yourselfer and need a specialty tool to finish the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and ask about their loaner tool program. Simply pay a refundable deposit and borrow the right tool. Then get your deposit back when it's returned. Ready for some new wiper blades? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts will help you pick out just what you need for your car and will even install them for you for free. O'Reilly Auto Parts has thousands of quality parts and accessories in stock that you might need to keep your vehicle running at its best. Place your order online at O'Reilly Auto Parts and then pick it up at your local store. You can even have your order shipped directly to your doorstep, giving you the freedom of shopping on your schedule. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
The Adam Carolla Show presents Pauly Shore's birthday cocktail party for February 1st. Let's see who's invited. Welcome to the party, American actor Clark Gable, an American poet Langston Hughes. It's the first president of the Russian Federation, Boris Yeltsin. Wake up, little Susie. Don Everly just showed up. Garrett Morris is here. Guitarist and heartbreaker Mike Campbell. Bluesman Sonny Landreth. From Warrant, let's welcome Janie Lane. Brandon Lee. Lisa Marie Presley. Jason Isbell. Harry Styles. And shit just got real. Ladies and gentlemen, Rick James. Pauly Shore is on the Adam Carolla Show.
There you go.
Pretty diverse birthday.
Yeah. You know, whenever I have a birthday, I celebrate. A lot of people get older and they're like, fuck, I can't believe I'm 65. And for me, like, you hear so many horror stories of people getting cancer. Every day, you know, I get a text from someone, oh, my father's got this or da. We're so lucky that we're still on this fucking earth.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, seriously, dude. I mean, that we're in our 50s right now, and it's just like, you know, we made it this far. Now I'm at this place in my life where I just don't want to die. You know, I don't want to get that fucking call. You know, you got to take your blood, you got to exercise and do all that shit, because at the end of the day, it's a wrap. We're all getting thrown under the dirt. You remember Gary Garfinkel from Showtime? Kinda.
No, Gary Garfinkel.
Yeah,
from
he
Showtime.
ran Showtime for 25 years, the comedy department.
Yeah, see, I don't know all these people because I didn't do anything career-wise all through my 20s and into my early 30s. I didn't ever met any of these people.
Yeah, he was just a great guy, good friend of mine. He got brain cancer and a tumor and fucking died at 55.
So what are you doing to elongate your life?
I pamper myself a lot, to be honest. You know, I go to the gym, I go to the spa, I get massages, chiropractors, you know, try to just take it easy, try to relax my mind as best as I could. But fortunately, my parents lived old, so hopefully, you know, knock on wood, you know, I can live old. But, you know, when you get older, when you get, you know, in your 50s, you start to realize, like, hey, shit, you know, you know, it's a short thing. So it's like years ago when I'd play comedy clubs, maybe I'd be like, oh God. Now I play it and I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. Your mind just starts to shift a little and you start to really appreciate, you know, I'm stoked to come see him, stoked to see you, you know, this is like, this is going to end at some point.
Yeah.
We're all going to be fucking, you know, poof, gone. It's fucking wild, except for the Comedy Store.
That last
Well,
one.
Comedy Store keep going on, and you know if you can get a Life commercial in the mid '70s, your life will continue as well because we'll be referencing Mikey well into the next 1,000 years. Did you find that story, or am I making that up? Who's the guy who killed Sam Kinison?
Troy Pearson?
And what did he say?
I'm still trying to look that up.
I remember he had a whole bunch of beer cans. Bill Kennison always said like the guy had beer cans. He was a drunk driver. He pretty much got killed by a drunk driver. Yeah.
So I was thinking about your movie career, and when you tied it to Sandler's, it actually made a lot of sense. And during those days, they would actually, it felt like they designed movies around your persona. And your character was always designed around like what you built when you were on MTV and all that. But did you ever audition for anything that you didn't get, and now you're looking back and think, oh, I would have killed that?
No, not really. I mean, they were writing movies for me at the time. You know what I mean? I look back and you know, sometimes, you know, I wish that I would have done certain things a certain way, but you know, I always kind of made decisions from here and not from here.
He's pointing at his heart and then his head. It's a podcast thing that happens
like
a lot.
You know what I mean?
He's pointing at his watch earlier.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but you know, and sometimes you have to make your decisions from your head and not your heart. So I don't know. I don't know.
What like a lot of your projects, I'm sure, get like resurgences or renaissance like from a younger generation. What have you seen lately that people are really
I don't know. I'm very fortunate. I pinch myself every day, and I'm fortunate for whatever it is that I did in my career has stuck 30 years later.
Were you pumped on all the Encino Man?
Yeah, all the Encino Man stuff, all the Biodome stuff, the son-in-law stuff, the Army, all those movies, got in people's veins. It's in there. It's not going anywhere, and I thank God that whatever I did, connected with people. So. But yeah, I mean, the stuff with Jimmy Kimmel, when he threw me under the bus at the Oscars, I thought was hilarious. And I was like, oh my God, they mentioned me at the Oscars. And now I got all these movie offers. I'm doing a whole bunch of drama movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like, look at Brendan. Look at, look at all these guys. I'm at that place where, it's just going to take that one director, and it's happening now. We're like, I'm going to have him do something completely different because I'm actually an actor before a comedian.
I didn't think you thought of yourself that way.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I grew up watching your movies before,
well, that's when people come see me, they're coming to see me for my acting, not because they saw my Netflix special.
Right.
So
I think we got some news. I still want to find both those goddamn stories. I know they're out there.
We have the casino story. It's incredibly disturbing. I'm scanning through it to find out what the...
Was that 15 years ago?
We can call Bill Kennison right now. If you want to put it on pause, he'll probably take the call and probably tell you about the guy that killed his brother if you want.
I think we can find it on the Ultranet. But I did see Bill... He hosted the doc that they did on Kennison, right?
I think so.
That was on something.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a little news, and then we'll see how this shapes out.
All right. So as we record this, today the U.S. Supreme Court handed down a major ruling on affirmative action, saying colleges and universities can no longer take race into consideration as a specific basis for granting admission.
Yeah, good.
Good.
Well, listen... You can't reverse engineer shit. If there's a problem with a certain group not achieving test scores as high as the other group, you can't change the test scores. You have to go back and figure out why they're not achieving it, not change the test score, which is the new world order, which is, we have a big problem with the homeless, all right? More houses. We have a big problem with violence. All right, less guns. Like, no, you have to figure out what's motivating people to sleep in the streets or to use the gun or to not achieve the test score. You have to start it at the family. You have to start it at the beginning. You can't go around it and go to the end. Like they go, oh, we have a school to prison pipeline. All right. I don't know what the school to prison pipeline is. They've kind of given up on the school to prison pipeline. But, okay, let's say there's a school to prison pipeline. What is going on? Why is this happening? And then who's a minority in this country? Because are you talking about Asians? Because Asians are a minority compared to blacks and Hispanics, but they do better scholastically. So what's going on with the Asians?
This was the issue. A lot of Asians actually wanted this because they're getting discriminated with a racial penalty, holding them to much higher standards.
Right.
So they couldn't get into Harvard or North Carolina.
Yeah, no, well, blah, blah, blah. First things first. There is no such thing as saying, look, all we're going to do is get more kids from the inner city or more black kids. We're just going to let more of them into Stanford or UCLA or Harvard. We're just going to do more of that. What's wrong with that? It's not going to affect the Asians. It's not going to affect the whites. It's not going to affect the Armenians. It's not going to, and it's like, well, what's wrong with it is it will affect those other people because you have a finite amount of people you can take into your school. It's like saying, I got a boat, and the boat holds 50 people, and we cruise around the harbor. Now, all I'm saying is I just want to let more blacks onto the boat, but that's not going to affect the Asians. And it's like, well, if the Asians are on the boat or trying to get on the boat, at some point they're going to have to get off the boat or not get on the boat in the first place. It's finite. Well, that's the problem.
Well, the thing is, say the word seesaw.
Seesaw.
Say seesaw 3 times.
Seesaw, seesaw, seesaw.
Because we're a Democratic party and a Republican party, it's always going to go back. Right now, the Democrats are running everything, so this is what's the hot topic. The second the Republicans come in, which will be another 4 years or 8 years, it's going to, that's just the way it's going to go. That's what America is. America's never going to stop going back and forth because it's always going to be different than a Russia or the Middle East, where it's just always one way. I mean, America is the only country in the world where everyone looks different. If you go to China, everyone looks Chinese. You go to Sweden, everyone's Swedish. Here, it's just going to always kind of go seesaw. It's just going to always go back. And right now, Biden's running it. They have the power, and this is what he's pushing. Correct?
Oh yeah, we got his. Well, he's not getting it accomplished because this is the Supreme Court. But he's not happy that the Supreme Court shot this down.
Because Trump shoved those other, those Caucasians in there. Right?
That's not a normal
I'm just saying, I don't want to live in a society where everything is based on your group or your race.
Absolutely not.
It's just even playing field, the same as the NBA,
Correct.
same as NFL, same as 100%. NHL, whatever it is, stand up, whatever it is. Let the best rise to the top. If there's an issue, if blacks aren't being represented in colleges, then the answer is let's go find out what's going on in the black community and see if we can remedy that. It's not change the admission to colleges. It never works. It doesn't help the group they're trying to help. But we have Biden. I think Biden made a speech, and I'll tell you why. It's funny.
Truth is, we all know it. Discrimination still exists in America. Discrimination still exists in America. Discrimination still exists in America.
All right, hold on.
I just told you it said seesaw 3 times, and he said this 3 times.
Weird.
Sometimes you have to say things 3 times to really get it.
Maybe, but he was going to be the unifier. He was going to be the guy who unified the country, never stops talking about discrimination. Who's discriminated?
He hammered that home heavily.
Do you think college campuses are a hotbed of discrimination? Like today's college campuses? Do you think blacks aren't getting into college campuses because they have stodgy old white guys who are racist, who are in charge of the administration? Well, who's he speaking of?
Right.
Who's causing this? It's the weirdest thing in the world. Like whenever
it's all happening. I mean, played Arkansas. You got to play this club in Arkansas. Amazing. And I was at Target, and they have a whole gay pride section at Target.
Oh, yeah.
It says transgenders always exist, or trans will always exist. This is the way the world's going. But the second the Republicans take over, I think those shirts are going to be ripped off
They're already ripped off.
Oh, they took them off.
Yeah,
already?
they
already
first
did.
because all the
That's-
Target employees were complaining that people are getting mad at them, and they're like, "This isn't our fault." So they had a secret call from corporate going, "Put it all in the back." And then now, after even a few more days, they just took them off the shelves.
All right, we'll play this again. Sorry, it makes me laugh.
Truth is, we all know it. Discrimination still exists in America. Discrimination still exists in America. Discrimination still exists in America.
All right, hold on. But just against blacks. Not. But what about like Nigerians, or what about Hispanics, or Guatemalans, or the Asian community, or
Polynesians.
Jews? But it's just blacks. Like diverse. Diverse means black now. Diverse doesn't mean diverse anymore. Diverse.
It's assumed,
used
yeah.
to mean black, white, Asian, the Eskimo that Kinnison was going to play. Like it used to mean a group. Diversity means a group. It doesn't just mean black.
Well, this whole movement has worked, especially in the entertainment business. I mean, if you drive down Sunset Boulevard, American-born Chinese, you got the Netflix billboard, Black Panther, you got the Black Bachelorette.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
ones,
This
yeah.
is what's happening, and people in the middle of the country go, "Man, what the fuck is going on around here?"
As
You know what I
they're
mean? That's
cruising
just,
down Sunset.
yeah, that's just the way. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean?
All right, we'll play the next one. The next one's good. So I was listening to the clip. I was listening to him give the speech in the car on the radio on the ride in, but this one made me laugh.
Statistics, one statistic. Students from the top 1% of family incomes in America are 77 times more likely to get into elite college than one from the bottom 20% of family incomes. 77% greater opportunity. Today, for too many schools, the only people who benefit from the system are the wealthy and the well-connected.
All right, he's worried about the wealthy and the well-connected. Well, first off, there's no such thing as pulling a clip of Joe Biden where he doesn't completely fucking butcher the English language. I don't know if it's
Well, he
77
stutter stops.
times
Yeah,
or
stutter stops.
Is it 77% or 77 times?
He said
I think
both.
percent,
He's
right?
covered.
You think percent? But he said times.
Yeah.
So we don't know. But here's the deal. He's worried about the wealthy having a step
pass,
up,
a fresh
pass.
Yeah.
The well-connected.
This guy just dragged his fucking junkie son all over the world and acted as his fucking bag man to get him paid in China, Ukraine, Russia, Mexico. You want to talk about connected? You
He's
want to talk
very
about
connected, yeah.
nepotism?
Yeah.
The idea that this guy would even bring up in the midst of all these
Don't
fucking
draw
emails and
any
texts.
attention to that. Who's like, that's terrible. Who's this PR person? Like, never say that. Don't even say that.
All you did is there's mountains of evidence now that you got your fucking junky white rich son paid off of your back.
I partied with Hunter Biden, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Vegas a couple weeks ago.
A couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, the guy knows how to fucking. Dude, he does some serious rails, bro.
Hunter.
Well, yeah, Hunter.
I
Yeah,
think
dude.
he's sober.
No, dude. We were pulling all-nighters at the Wynn, dude. He's wild, dude. We had some girls from the Rhino there and Sapphire. He's like, Wheeze, let's do this. And he started, no, I'm just kidding. He would be fun to party with.
Visualize that, though.
Yeah.
I agree. But the idea that Joe Biden would talk about the wealthy and the well-connected and why it's unfair and unjust that they get a step up on the rest of the poor people.
This is his angle. It's been his angle from the beginning. So,
Yeah, it's like Jared Fogle making a statement. Like, I was thinking, the youth, the children.
Yeah.
We should really start thinking of them and caring about their future. It's like, no, don't even say the word children.
The other thing that we're doing now, which keeps coming up all the time, is they keep going, the poor and the black community. And it's like poor and black.
They're
It's
separated.
weird. We just say the black, like affects the poor and the black community, which it's a new thing. It's a subtle thing. And it's fucking racist and nuts. Like when I go, these extra baggage charges that the airlines are tacking on are affecting the poor and the black community. It's like, what do you mean? It affects the poor who may be black, but also come in white, Hispanic, and other colors. But then you're carving out a separate group, the black community. Everything is poor. Do you have that goddamn article about what's going on in Chicago? Was it that one that drove me nuts? It was like the title.
The Canada wildfires.
The Canada wildfires, the smoke is blowing into Chicago, and it's affecting which community?
Good Tuesday evening. We begin tonight like we have so many nights this summer with the air we are all breathing. Today, just one of so many hazy days we've had in the last few weeks. And tonight, the Twin Cities and a lot of Minnesota and Wisconsin are under, again, an air quality alert. These are set to expire Thursday at midnight. But if you're wondering, gee, is this happening more and more this summer? Yes. With raging fires in Canada, those tasked with forecasting
didn't
exactly
I give you an
when
article
this
or a
will hit, say,
screenshot that says
no matter how
something
many
on it?
times it happens, it remains hard to forecast. Case in point this morning. The air.
So you could guys stop.
I don't know
So
why we're playing this, but
smoke.
okay.
There's an article. Smoke from Canada wildfires is increasing health risks in Black and poorer U.S. communities.
So we have two groups now. This would I got to
separated.
go inform Oprah and Jay-Z and Beyonce. Bad news. It's not just the poor community. It's the black community. So you guys are going to be affected by these wildfires as much as the poor people who are.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't matter how much money you have when you're Black. You're getting hit too.
Believe me, this is a turning point in the United States that we've now created poor and the black community, regardless of your status.
Wait, so you're so either way, if you're Black and you're successful, you're still victimized.
Even when it comes to inhaling air. If you live in the Chicago area and you just breathe, even if you're like the Jeffersons, and you're living up in the penthouse, it would affect you more than a white person who is living in a neighboring penthouse.
What about the people that were in the submarine that died next to the Titanic?
That affected not the poor or the black community.
Yeah. Imagine that if there was poor and black people in there. What would have?
Well, it's $250 a seat, $250,000 a seat. So I don't know if any poor people got in there, but maybe Biden dreams of a day where we can get a young black man onto that sub. I think that's the point. Anyway, we're living in a racist society, and he doesn't like the idea of these rich white guys getting a leg up.
By the way, Biden's kid went to Georgetown and Yale.
Yeah, but that kid's a crackerjack.
Yeah.
He takes care of business. Yeah.
Yeah, Biden's upset about it. Michelle Obama wasn't happy.
Oh, Michelle Obama's got a problem, too. Which house was she in when she issued this?
Her podcast is fantastic, by the way.
I never listened. Oh, no, I did listen to it.
Oh, my God, it's so good.
It's called...
Inspiring.
Yeah. Oh, fuck her. Are you kidding?
I'm just kidding. I never listened to it.
It's junk.
Yeah, totally. Me neither.
I don't know.
No, I listen because I am obsessed with platitudes.
What's platitudes?
Platitudes are when people say like stuff like, look, we're all humans and we all make mistakes. And everyone makes mistakes, and I'm a human and I made a mistake too. Or sadly, one day we're all going to die. So, sorry, but that would be a platitude because it'd be like, yeah.
I knew I shouldn't have said that earlier.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But what I'm saying is her platitudes are a little more nuanced than just, everyone's grandpa's. Like, you ever hear those people like where they go, rich people, they got all the money, and the poor people, they have the money. And you go like, yeah, no shit. Like, what are you saying? Or are you just talking? Like, there's a fucking word count, and you have to spit out X amount of words. And what she does, and what Michelle Obama does, is she does an advanced platitude, like a gussied up platitude. She does... Actually, Kamala Harris does a shittier job of trying to do what Michelle Obama does when she talks about a seat at the table and how we're better together. And, Biden does a lot of it, like diversity is our strength. I don't know that it's our strength. And by the way, if it is our strength, why are you trying to divide us every 10 seconds then if that's our strength? And then it's like he'll go like, look no further than the military. The military is the strongest fighting force in the world because of diversity. It's like, have you checked the footage from World War II? Bunch of white guys. And they won every fucking war. So you can win it with a bunch of white dudes, and you can win it with black and white dudes and chicks and Hispanics, but it's not the diversity that makes it stronger.
Diversity is the fire within our soul in this nation.
Well, I mean,
she's a platitude circle machine, Michelle Obama, never saying anything that makes any sense.
It's not the color of your skin, it's what's beneath the color of your skin. It's just like if you wear a suit or you wear this, it has no idea. It doesn't matter. There's good people and there's bad people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think
That could be a platitude.
That's pretty platitude-y.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. It's like, come on, right?
There's good people.
And there's bad people. It doesn't matter what
they
color.
come in all
their
different colors.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what color your skin is.
I agree.
Right.
All right. Do you have that story? Or maybe we'll break a little early and we'll come back. We got one more, right? And we'll do want to do that story. Well, give me the story about that casino thing that happened that is crazy. And then the aftermath. And then the guy went to Stanford. And it was 15 years ago, right?
Did he get in?
Or something? He got in, but then people were pissed. This was a kind of early cancellation before people got canceled back then. This is a 15-year-old cancellation, not the host from The Bachelor cancellation. This is like an olden days cancellation. What year was this?
The rape and murder was 1997.
Oh, no.
Is that what you're speaking of?
No, that wasn't 1997. That's Sam Kinison.
No.
Oh, the rape and murder was 97? Oh, what did I get on my... What did I have on my screen that was a different date? Okay. Anyway. Yeah. All right. Sorry. 97. So it's been a while.
97, it was a 15 and 17-year-old boys. It's absolutely awful, but it happened inside a stall. One of the kids jumped up on the toilet and watched what was happening. He got bored with it, decided to go play video games. His buddy came out 20 minutes later. It said to his friend, "Hey, I just raped and murdered this chick." And he said, kid. Sorry.
Yeah.
Child. And the only question the other friend asked was, did she become sexually aroused?
Jesus.
There was a kid.
And then this person told the Los Angeles Times that he didn't even think about the murder in the weeks following it. He didn't do it. And he says, I'm not going to get upset over somebody else's life. I just worry about myself first. I'm not going to lose sleep over somebody else's problems.
Guy needs a publicist, man. You need some media training. Yeah.
Delusional.
And then
he reportedly told the newspaper that the case's attention had made it easier for him to, quote, score with women.
Could you imagine the worst thing you could say? Well, look, even if you're thinking it, don't do that interview. Don't say that.
He also went in 60 Minutes and did more too because he enrolled at Berkeley.
Oh, it was Berkeley. It wasn't Stanford. I knew it was
one of those
prestigious up north schools. God damn it. Berkeley.
So of course there's pushback from his peers. He graduated with a bachelor's degree in nuclear engineering, by the way.
Well, I remembered he was an engineering guy, and it made me wonder if he had some autistic spectrum shit, because he's nuclear engineer, right? That takes a little dusting of a little spectrum kind of autism stuff, and then maybe also he was maybe a little Asperger's or something, because sitting down and doing an interview where you're like, hey man, it wasn't me, and hey, help me get chicks, that means you don't pick up on social cues.
Yeah.
Right? You're not dialed in. Like anybody else would be like, I got to say my heart goes out to the family, and that I want to repeat that I had nothing to do with this, and I condemn that, whatever. But if you don't pick up on social cues, like you have a little autism, then maybe you give that interview.
I'm picking up on this. I don't even want to fucking talk about it.
Dude.
It's fucking gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry, what else? I want to keep talking about it, though.
All right.
It's too heavy.
Well, he graduated. He's got to work somewhere now.
During his time at the school, a 24-year-old was arrested on a misdemeanor battery charge for spitting in this guy's face. And the student government tried and failed twice to get him kicked out.
Right.
But still graduated. And then so efforts to reach this guy for a story were unsuccessful. But when asked on CBS's 60 Minutes in late 99 if, given the chance, he would do things differently.
Oh, I love these people.
He said, quote, "I don't feel there is much I could have done differently."
That, my favorite person is, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. And then when you've done something egregious and horrible and somebody goes, would you change what happened? I go, can't change it, wouldn't do it.
So, yeah, so this conversation all pretty much came out of the guy that killed Sam Kinison, right?
Yeah.
This conversation.
Yes.
This conversation came from that discussion. Yes.
So do we have any of that stuff? Where's this fucking guy?
We can find that.
Just a complete lack of remorse. Like even the homicide detective said, quote, "Morally, this guy is an empty bucket."
I think the person they killed was a black girl too, which if in this day and age,
I'm like sick.
Can you imagine? And how old was she, Dawson?
7.
All right. So this guy's got like some sort of autistic spectrum stuff, right? What you want an engineer, but they don't thwart a lot of crime. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. We'll do some more news right after this. Woo. Let me tell you about Turo. Innovative. It's the world's largest car sharing marketplace with Turo. You can book any car you want, wherever you want, from a community of local hosts. Browse a huge selection of vehicles for just about any occasion or budget. Book an SUV or a minivan for a family road trip, a pickup truck for some errands, or even test drive an EV. Every trip is backed by liability insurance. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Find your drive. Forget your boring rental cars at Turo, Turo.com.
In the spirit of Murrow, Jennings, Cronkite, here's another great moment in local news.
And then the 4th of July, here's like an actual customer out here. What's the best kind of firework to buy?
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
Where are your parents?
That's a great moment in local news. Now, back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Pauly Shore in studio.
Yeah.
Speaking of the parents, does it say what time that murder? That murder took place like 2 a.m. on a weekday or something.
Yes, the escorts for both the parents of both the little girl and the criminals were deep into gambling at 2 in the morning, 3 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, let's not let the dad completely off the hook, whose 2-year-old is running around Whiskey Pete's.
Security
brought the
7-year-old to the gambler on several occasions and said, please keep an eye on your daughter. And he just kept gambling.
Yeah. So a little parenting could have prevented
I'd say so.
A lot of this.
Paul, you're in Vegas, right? You gamble? Mm-mm. You don't? Yeah, nobody who lives in Vegas gambles.
I just don't know how to add.
That would help.
You know what I mean? Like I would do it if I was good at like, oh, that's a 6. That's a like. I literally stopped the flow.
You thought
of the
Sam
gambling.
Kinnison's daughter was in her teens.
That's true.
So I get it.
It's right there. We should have known.
No, I lived there for 2.5 years, and I didn't actually gamble once. It's not my thing.
Where'd you live when you were there?
I lived in a place called Rancho Circle.
How'd you like it?
Great. It was great. I lived off of about 5 minutes from the Strip. I was like the youngest person in the neighborhood. So.
And are you moving back here?
I am here now. Yeah, I kept a place there too, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I kept a place there. Turnberry Towers, actually, I have a place there, so it's nice.
Is it good for taxes?
Not for me because my work is on the road. So like if I was Carrot Top or David Copperfield or these guys that actually live there, then you can benefit. Or if I was starring in movies, you can do that. But if you're working on the road like us, Sacramento, you're in Texas, that you can't benefit from that.
Oh, from the Nevada residents.
Right.
Interesting and noted. All right, still need the Sam Kinison guy because if I have a memory of something, it somehow exists. So Google Google me right
Especially something
about
that odd.
how unrepentant that guy
Yeah.
was.
I don't even think he
disgusting.
spent time in jail, right?
Well, they'll look it up.
There's some reporting that at the incident, people heard him say, "Oh God, look at my truck."
Oh, maybe that was it. He was worried about his truck.
All roads lead.
To narcissism. All right. So,
Another story? Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Paul, you live alone, right?
I do. I live with my dog Buster. Yeah.
Yeah, but Dawson lives alone. When I lived alone, I never washed my sheets.
Mm-hmm. I
And-
never did either.
Yeah, but there's a study about unwashed pillowcases that just came out.
Mm-hmm.
That when we get these kind of studies every once in a while, but now unwashed pillowcases contain more bacteria than toilet seats.
Everything has more bacteria than toilet
I'm starting to think toilet seats have little bacteria because they said shopping cart handles,
phones,
computer keyboards.
Everything has more bacteria.
Whenever you go to a restaurant or something and you have to go to the bathroom, do you put the plastic stuff down?
I typically don't. Yeah, I heard it doesn't do anything. I thought it was like a California thing too, because when I would travel the country, there were a lot of
What
places.
about
that
if
have
you're in a
them.
gay bar?
Oh.
What
Like
about
if you know
it?
you're at a gay bar, would you and you had to go to the bathroom, right? Would you put the plastic stuff down?
I'll put one over the glory hole, just a miniature one, like it's because I'm that clean.
Have you been to a gay bar?
Probably, maybe. Not sure if I knew it. I'd probably say yes when I was in my like Acme theater days.
Sure.
My favorite thing is that seat liner, which I don't see anymore. It's a vestige
They're
of the
still
past.
around. I just don't think. Yeah.
You don't see them like you used to see them.
Right.
It used to be a fixture. Now it's like even in porta potties. When I work construction, there's always the two greatest things on the porta potty is on the outside of it. Somebody would write Mexican Space Shuttle, which always made me laugh, and then on the inside, where the seat liners were, someone would write free cowboy hats and then an arrow down to the seat liner.
Why would they do that? Free cowboy hats?
Because they're have senses of humor and they're on a construction site and it's a toilet and it's a
all they had,
seat
man.
liner.
Oh.
But they would write free cowboy hats and then put an arrow.
Yeah,
You know.
I think because we're finding out
Other than that, I cannot offer any explanation or motivation as to why they did it.
I've heard they don't do much though. Maybe
But
it's just
also
like
wasn't a
placebo.
Mexican space shuttle either. Let's be clear.
Oh, we got to make that clear.
Yeah.
Speaking of space shuttles, have you been to the mothership yet?
No.
Rogan's Club.
Oh, no, I don't think I have.
You like
In
it?
Austin?
I heard it's good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Where is it?
Austin.
No, I've not been there.
Yeah, you got to go out and play that room.
It's good?
It's awesome. Yeah.
I heard
How
it's-
big is it?
He's got 2 rooms. One's I think 100 maybe, and the other one's like 250.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
they're all in the same.
And I heard it's purpose built for comedy, so that's
Oh,
why
interesting.
comedians
You'd
love
like it. You would love it because they put all the phones in the cases. They put the phones in the cases. You know, as a comic, when you psychologically know all the phones are in the cases, you can not do your stuff 90%. You can actually go 110%, and you can say things that maybe you wouldn't say if the phones were in the cases or
Right.
weren't in the cases. Yeah,
You go full Michael Richards.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you would kill out there.
All right, I'd love to go out there.
Yeah.
All right, what were we talking about?
Oh, so these pillowcases. So the experts warn that they have just a ton of bacteria, 17,000 times more than the average toilet seat. A lot of it is when you get into bed, you contaminate your bed linens with dead skin cells, sweat, your makeup, lotions, hair, whatever you've picked up throughout the day.
Slobber.
Yeah, slobber.
They're always
Buster
trying
slobber.
to freak us out. Listen, I didn't even know if I had a lower sheet for like half my life. I just slept on a mattress like half the time or on a futon with nothing. Dirtiest, most disgusting shit ever. No allergies, no sicknesses, no issues, no problems. So fuck right off.
When you travel, do you travel with the pillow?
I
Your own
try
pillow, yeah.
to bring my own pillow because the pillows in hotel rooms
Yeah,
are
are too
thick and
thick, yeah.
thicker.
Yeah.
They have, which is, it's weird when they give you 4 choices and the choices are like mega large and super large. Like, I know they look better. They look better on the bed. But offer a thinner pillow for those of us who would like a thinner pillow.
Yeah, because when you lie down, your body is like this, and you don't want your head to go up like that.
Yeah, you don't want your neck.
Yeah.
No, you want it to be like that. So I always try. I mean, my whole career, always touring, I always bring a pillow.
Yeah, I bring a pillow
and
too.
now that you've saying what you're saying, I believe like fuck, dude, my pillow is disgusting.
Yeah.
If I'm traveling from my house on Southwest to fucking, to the Hilton, like that's a dirty ass.
These hotels
pillow.
should be charging you.
Is your pillow not in your suitcase?
No, because I bring it with me on the plane.
Oh, really?
Because when you fold it in half and then you can lie like that.
Right.
I always bring a pillow on the plane.
And his counter. Yeah, clicker and a pillow.
Okay.
That's what you gotta bring on the road. Do you guys have to shower before bed, or do you just conk out whatever you're wearing?
Listen,
I'm sorry, I shouldn't ask you, Adam. Paul.
Yeah, I don't never shower.
Yeah.
I mean, on a rare occasion.
Not really.
Yeah.
No.
Well, let me give a plug to Pauly and myself. I'm going to be in San Antonio at the Comic-Con and Car Show. That'll be Saturday. You go to AdamCarolla.com for all my live shows because I'm everywhere. Pauly, you're doing live shows, but you also have the podcast, right?
Yeah, we got Jam in the Van, the Jam in the Van show. It's not a podcast. It's more of a show. But yeah, we're doing that. And then I got dates all over, and I have my one-man show. That'll be at Flappers, the Improv, and the Comedy Store in August.
For dates, you go to paulyshore.com,
Yes, paulyshore.com, and my YouTube channel has got a lot of fun stuff. Which
He's putting up some new videos on there. They're good.
Yeah.
He went a man on the street and talked to the people at the writer's strike.
Oh,
yeah, I went down to
that.
CBS. I put myself right in the middle of that. That was pretty cool. The writer's strike's pretty fucked up, dude.
Oh, I don't have time, unfortunately, but thanks.
Yeah.
For bringing that up. Pauly Shore, Chris Max Pat. Until next time, Adam Carolla saying mahalo.